Yeah. What's going on?
How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm good, man. How y'all? How y'all? All right. All right. Any of y'all bored? Any of y'all bored?
We in jail.
Huh? Yeah, yeah. That shit ain't supposed to be fun. You know what I'm saying?
What's going on with
Hey, out of respect, you don't never shake a man's hand while he's sitting
you?
down.
No, you see me come about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. He know. He know.
Time,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I got you. Yeah. Come on. Give me some love. What's going on? All right. What's up, bro?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Okay.
You like it here?
Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, I don't know.
Why you keep?
No, I don't like it here. No,
Oh,
I want to go home.
yeah. Yeah. Ladies, what's going on? Yeah, they still here. Hey, Steve. Yeah, whenever you ready. Okay, we good. My name is Marshall. I'm a person in long-term recovery. Yeah, and glad you're here, man. I got about 5 things to talk about today. You know, just that's my preparation. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna cut it in half. You know, uh, one of the things I want to talk about is the process of recovery. You know, we'll talk about that, and we also going to talk about making decisions. Making decisions. That shit sounds simple. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what they talk about, man. This program is simple. You know, we complicated. You know what I mean? Complicated people, man. My granddaughter, a little personal touch. My granddaughter, 16 years old, going on 17, 16 and a half. You know what I mean? She just got her driver's license, you know? And so, like most people, they get their driver's license, they have a little gas on their chest. They want to drive and all that, you know? Where she got the gas off her chest real fast. She's going to a camp, man. This is a camp for entrepreneurs. She's 16 and 16 and a half now. A camp for entrepreneurs. The camp was at Florida State, which is in Tallahassee, Florida, right? So her mother's car, they had to put it in the shop. So they decided to drive a granddaughter's car. So Tallahassee is like 6 hours from there. You know what I'm saying? So she go from there and getting a little gas on her chest. Like, come on, girl, hey, buckle up. You better drive this mother for a couple of hours. You know what I'm saying? So she did, you know. Then after they got there, her mother was leaving to come to Richmond. Her mother and her brother was leaving to come to Richmond. Left her with the car, you know. So she can drive back and forth to the camp. Eventually, her father's going to fly up there and they'll come back together, you know. So she goes, our conversation, she goes from just floating around at 16 years old to the point where I got to make some decisions now. And, you know, that made me think about recovery, made me think about myself. I thought like this. When I was in my, I was locked up, man, when I was 23. I was locked up 6 year bit, you know what I'm saying? But I was thinking, like, you know, man, everybody got some time to waste in their life. Everybody. It's my thinking. I don't know where I got it from, but everybody got time to waste. You know? Man, you can pick that stuff up, man, when you get 24, 25, 26 years old. You can pick it up like it's a switch. Like you can turn it on and turn it off, you know? And what I understand here, after getting here, it's the same thing about decisions. Hey, this is a process that I got to learn. Man, I got to learn how to make good decisions. That shit don't come automatically. For as much as I thought it did, it does not come automatically. you know? And you can sit here and you can think about it, and you was like, oh man, it was just a stroke of bad luck. You know, I run into people all the time, family members, you know, that's having a problem, man, making the decisions, man, making good decisions, you know. And not only that, I mean, not that's young. I find some older people have a problem, man, making the decisions, good decisions, because they never had to do it before, you know. Like that 16-year-old, you floating around in life, like, you know, free as a bird. I don't have any kind of responsibility, you know. And this thing right here, man, called life, man, you got to be responsible for yourself. Man, ain't nobody going to take care of you, you know. You got to be responsible for yourself, you know. And so I say to you that's in here, if your mind ain't right, when you going to get it right? If it ain't right, when you going to get it right? That's a question for you to ask yourself, you know, because I'm telling you, this shit ain't easy. This shit ain't easy, you know. I heard a brother say the other day, you know, it's like, man, forget all that old stuff that I learned. How do you forget it? Got to replace it with some new stuff, you know. And some of us ain't trying to do that. Some of us ain't trying to do the new stuff, you know. And we end up getting stuck with it. We end up getting stuck, you know. The process of recovery, let me tell you, you don't get it all in one day. This process of recovery is not an overnight thing. So if you in here and you saying, I'm going to get my shit together when I leave here, this ain't an overnight thing. Man, you can stumble, trip, fall, flat on your face, and then wonder why. You know, I mean, as it is today, man, there are things that you're going to have to do that you don't want to do. That's me. That's the same thing. There'll be days, man, look, I made a commitment to come out here. I don't want to come every day, but for the most part, I do. Other things that I have made a commitment to do, I don't want to do it every day, but I do it. You know, I do it, man, because what I found out is, man, how much I don't know. How much I don't know about me and how much I don't know about this process of recovery. I was somewhere the other day, man, and I heard an individual speaking. And man, he was talking about knowing yourself, you know. So have most of y'all heard of the Johari window? Johari window, you know. You eventually get it. You eventually get it. And it's like 4 windows that applies to us, you know. One of the windows is a blind spot. All of us got blind spots. All of us got things about ourselves that we don't know. You know, got things about ourselves that we know. And you know, I would debate that, man, when I was in my 20s. What you mean, things about me? I know everything about myself. You know, man, until I was put to the test. There's a whole lot about me that I didn't know that I found out, you know, as I continued, you know. One of them was like blind spots. Another one was the unknown. Unknown. We got unknown things about ourselves that we don't know and other people don't know either. Unknown spaces, places within us. And I talked to a dude, man, that was 75 years old. He's a minister. And he said, man, I'm still working on the unknown places within myself. I'm 75 years old, you know? And the thing about it is, I understand too from being here, you got to be involved in the process. You got to be involved in the process. Because if you don't, it'll hit you like, man, where'd that come from? Where'd that come from? And you got to sit down, man. I was thinking about this the other day when I sat down and when I did a fourth step. When I did a fourth step, then I had to share that with somebody, had to write that stuff out on paper, write it out on paper, man. And this thing for me started trickling down, man, when I was like 17, 18 years old. I made a bad decision. And it came back to haunt me, I couldn't let it go. As I understand today, I couldn't let it go, And I tried to cover that up through the use of drugs, alcohol, and all that. Man. Couldn't cover it up. I had to address it. And I said this too, man, most of the time, man, I call it demons, man. But when you got them demons following you, if you don't address it, that should have followed you for the rest of your life. Follow you for the rest of your life. Mark my word. You know what I'm saying? You'll see it. You're wondering why you see somebody. I mean, like, I've been locked up 10 times, man. Man, when you gonna get that shit right? When you gonna stop coming to jail? And man, whatever it is that's going on with you, you gotta get that shit straight, man. I met an individual the other day, and he told me, man, this individual just started. He got about 2 years clean, and he said, Marshall, he said, man, I found the best sponsor that I could possibly find. That was his thinking. He was like, look, man, for a whole year, this dude ain't never called my name. For a whole year, this dude called me an MF. An MF for a whole year. Are you crazy? You know what I'm saying? Are you stupid? You know what I'm saying? And he felt like he needed that. You know what I'm saying? He needed somebody to challenge him like that. Now some people don't need a sponsor like that. Some people need somebody that's kind of soft on them. You know what I'm saying? And give them passes on certain shit. But there are some that need a tough individual as a sponsor. To bring it out of us, to bring it out of you. And man, I'm telling you, it is worth it. Anybody see the which come last night? Playoffs? Yeah. Oh, you heard him? Yeah. Tatum, I was happy for him, but I would have also been happy if Kyrie had won one, because what I understand about these young dudes, man, they just like y'all, man. Man, hey, look, I heard a coach say this, man. These young dudes are so damn fragile. We want them to be adults. You know what I'm saying? We want them to be 35, 40 years old. These dudes are fragile. They just came out of adolescence into being a young adult. They learning on the fly. That's all you hear. They learning on the fly. They got to learn how to be a good professional basketball player. What kind of shit is that? In my mind, anyway. That's all I think. You got to learn how. Now I'm looking at Kyrie. Kyrie left LeBron because he felt like, I wanted my own team. And they was trying to tell him, look, that shit is difficult, man. Then he ended up being happy in Dallas, and he in the same situation he was in Cleveland. Luka is the man. He's still playing Batman and Robin. But that ain't what he wanted. I wanted to be the man. And it didn't happen for him, And he goes today with a lot of introspection, looking at himself and understanding, or it either ain't my time yet, or maybe it just wasn't meant to be. Jason Tatum, he said last night on the podium, he said, man, I had to sit for I don't know how many years and listen to y'all talk all of that shit about me, because they want him to be a certain individual. They want him to be hard and thuggish and all that shit like that. And he ain't built like that. That don't mean because he ain't hard and thuggish that he can't play basketball. He can hit a damn jumper from the three-point line. Now he driving to the basket. You know what I'm saying? Man, and it goes to, man, what I said earlier about the unknown. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some of these people that's doing this shit, they don't know. They taking a good guess. Sometimes that guess is wrong. That's why we got a 10-step in the program. When we are wrong, we continue to take personal inventory. And when we are wrong, we promptly admit that shit. I do that all the time. When I got to that point, when I look back, and man, I think about, I used the word debate earlier. I think about the debates that I done had with people. I was wrong as a mother. Wrong as a mother. Then came back to him and apologized. You know? Man, I thought so and such and such. I'm wrong. You know? Because I'm telling you, my vision has gotten better. Has gotten better. You know? And this ain't no knock against anybody in here. But your vision ain't what you think it is. That's that everybody done went through that. The sooner I realize that, the better off I'll be. You know? Man, I just had a conversation with my wife as I was driving. I was traveling. And man, me and my wife decided years ago, before I retired, that we're going to become debt-free. We ain't going to owe nobody no money. We know about that shit. We ain't going to owe nobody any money, you know? And that's what we did, man. I done heard people talk about that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I can retire and live better than, or just as good as I did when I was working. Because I followed the plan, man. I followed the plan. All of this shit had to change my way of thinking. I don't care nothing about, you know, I mean, I didn't anyway. Hey, what y'all doing over there? Y'all supposed to be over here. You know, I had to change my thinking because I used to think one time, I don't care, if I owe somebody some money, a bill collector, get it the best way you can. You know what I'm saying? Get it the best way you can. And you know what? They'll do that. They'll do that, you know? Man, it was a celebration for me when I got a car and they had to get nobody to co-sign for it. Back in the day, you had to have a co-signer. What they do now is rather than have a co-signer, they give you these high interest loans. I'm like, damn, that's like borrowing money from the mafia or somebody. You know what I'm saying? They give you high interest loans. You know what I'm saying? And they got all these different financial institutions that'll take your money. And you know what? If you don't pay it back, they're going to take you to court. You in court, you know? Then you end up owing them 3 times what you owed them. And you know what? I mean, as soon as you get a job, they're going to garnish you. You're going to pay, they're going to get their money back. I used to hear dudes talk that when I was in the penitentiary. They were like, look, some people specialize in loaning out money. He said, I specialize in getting mine back. And that's these financial institutions that we deal with now. They specialize in getting their money back, man. If you ever get a job, they're going to get it. They're going to make sure that they get it back. I got a family member right now. Got 2 garnishees coming at her. You know? The people going to get their money, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, the thing about it is, if you here and you don't want nothing, that's available. That's available. That shit ain't going nowhere. If you don't want nothing, it's here. Now, if you want something, it's an avenue to that as well. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, comes back to making a decision. Make a decision what it is you want. But you can't have it both ways. You can't go out there, commit crimes, and then come to jail and look for some sympathy. That shit don't work. That don't work. You know what I mean? But anyway, man, we got a guy here today, Terry. Terry spoke. Hey, Terry, I tried to take up some of your time, so you won't have to do but 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm doing here. I've been doing this for a minute, you know? Terry said, if I need some help, man, I said, Terry, if you need some help, I got you. You know what I'm saying? I got you. But Terry been around for 19 months. You know, him and I were talking before this thing started, you know? And man, when I look at Terry, I see where the 19 months has benefited him. Me and him have met before, you know? And I'm telling you, man. Terry, come on up here, man. Introduce yourself. Take your time. You drop some money?
Dropping? No, ain't got no money.
Oh,
No,
okay.
actually, I do have a little bit of money.
Yeah.
I have money in the bank
Yeah.
for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. I tell you. Tell us about yourself.
I can reach in my wallet and buy something when I want to buy something, and that feels good. My name is Terry, and I am an addict.
Hey, Terry.
Thank you for welcoming me. I am an addict. I'm an old school addict. I say I'm an addict. Now, we really don't identify that way anymore. How they identify? I'm a person in long-term recovery, okay? I'm a person in recovery from a substance use disorder. Well, that's all politically correct and good, but I'm an addict. But then I got to thinking about it. Do I want to identify as just an addict? No, I'm a person. I'm a person with the disease of addiction. Okay, disease. Now I'm diseased. That ain't too cool either. But if you think about it, it is a disease. How we know it's a disease? It's got symptoms, it's progressive, and it will kill your ass. No doubt. I've seen it. Still alive, but I've seen a lot of it. Now let me back up for a minute. I jumped ahead of myself. You got a meth head, an alcoholic, and a heroin junkie in a car together. Who's driving? The police are driving. That's who's driving. Supposed to start out with a joke to warm up the audience. I looked up jokes in recovery. Corny. They were all terrible. I must have read 100 jokes. They were terrible jokes. Terrible. So I found one I thought I could get away with. So what am I doing here? Y'all know John Shinholzer, co-founder of McShin? He comes here regularly. I know John. So I'm working the phones at McShin on my days off. I wash dishes for a living. I'm a humble man. I used to be a professional. I made a lot of money, worked at the professional level. Well, that's gone. My professional license is gone. My wife is gone. A lot of things are gone. But I have a little money in my pocket. I have a job, and I'm happy. Not happy every day, but I'm happy. So I answer the phones at McShin on my days off on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, pay my bed fees, because I do live in McShin. I live in a recovery house. I've been there 19 months. My sobriety date is November 27th, 2022. That is the day I took a nice big snort of fentanyl and ran my car into the back of another vehicle and woke up in the back of Henrico police car and found myself over here in West. Still doing COVID. Did 2 weeks over here in lockdown, COVID lockdown, and they shipped me over to East. Wouldn't give me a bond. Just wouldn't give me a bond until I got into a program. So I spent 40 days over East, and I finally got, I'm a veteran, fortunately, so I got in the VA hospital. They took me in inpatient. So I got a bed-to-bed transfer. Then I came to McShin. But so I texted John. I hadn't spoken to him in a while. Just out of the blue, I said, hey, John, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while because, you know, he retired from McShin. And my phone rings. It's John. I'm like, okay. How you doing, John? Hey, Terry, how long you got? What do you mean? How long you got in recovery now? I said 19 months. He said, okay, you're good. You go over there. We're going over tonight and talk. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Going where? What are you talking about? He said, you're going over to jail and talk. You don't say no to John. Everybody knows John. You don't say no to John. You don't say no to John. So that's what I'm doing here. But I'm glad to be here. And, you know, I'm a pretty outgoing guy. I'm a pretty outspoken guy. But, you know, public speaking, that can make a person nervous. So I was like, oh, what am I going to do? I'm going to tell my story. Okay, we all have a story, as Marsh pointed out. We all have a story. I'm 61 years old. I've been in and out of recovery. I've been an addict all my life. I've been in and out of recovery many times. And this time, for 19 months, it's stuck. And I'm happy, and I'm on the right track. And unfortunately, I got here by, like I said, by way of jail and an overdose. And still don't have my license back, but I will get a license. I will get straight that way. So where do you start a story? You start at the beginning, right? I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1963. Go Steelers, hardcore steel town, right? Bar on every corner. Work hard, make steel, drink hard. That's the way it was. My father drank hard. He was a World War II veteran. My mother was an alcoholic. She drank hard, and there was a lot of violence in the household. A lot of throwing of ashtrays, throwing of whiskey bottles. They put me in Catholic school. Violence. Nuns were terrible. Yes, priests never touched me. Priest never put his hands on me. Nuns beat the hell out of me. Get out of line, you got the paddle. Don't sit still in class. There was no ADHD. There was no Ritalin. You got your ass beat until you sit in that chair and you learn. That's just the way it was. The Vietnam War was on. Body counts on TV every night. They don't do body counts anymore. They used to put body counts. This many communists, this many Americans died. So there was violence in my life. And drinking was a way of life. So, of course, I had the gene, I had the environment. I started drinking at a young age. My parents both died a year apart when I was young, 12, 13 years old, from the disease of alcoholism. So my sister, God willing, was not an alcoholic, and she took me in and began to raise me. But as soon as I could get my hands on booze, I liked it, and I wanted more of it. And then came marijuana. Loved it. Couldn't get enough of it. So I spent my entire high school years drinking and smoking weed. All right? Dabbling in hard drugs a little bit. So one day, I moved to Louisiana. I'm down there. I find some work, and I'm working and just getting shit-faced drunk, working hard, getting shit-faced drunk. And I decided I need something else. I need to do something else. So I went to a recruiting office. I enlisted in the Air Force. They took me right in, joined the Air Force. I said, oh, this is great. They'll straighten me up. Yeah, they straightened me up. Plenty of discipline, but it was a culture of alcohol. Nowadays in the military, they got a quality force. They don't like that stuff so much. You go to the club too much, you know, you'll be in the office. You got a problem. But when I was in, it was drink, 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 drink. You do something good, the commander rewarded you with a barrel of beer. So we drank. We drank hard. I got a DUI. They brushed it under the table. Oh, you're a good serviceman. It's okay. They handed me over to my first sergeant. Didn't get arrested. Shit-faced drunk. Could have killed somebody driving my little Sunbird. They swept that under the table. So I got through that. My goal was not to get kicked out of the Air Force. My goal was to do 4 years and not get kicked out. And somehow, by the grace of God, I got in trouble, drinking, fighting. But the culture still accepted it at the time. There's no way I would have made it nowadays. Too much, no way. Instead of staying in, it's one of my regrets in life. Should have stayed in, but I was young and dumb and bored. So I got out of the Air Force and went to work. That was in 1986. 1986. So I'm working, drinking, smoking my weed. And one day along came a guy, said, I got some fire cocaine. I'm up for anything. I've always been up for anything. I dabbled a little bit in drugs. Quaaludes, back when they made Quaaludes. I forgot about those. So I tried cocaine. What do? No, I don't snort a line. I do a big shot. I do a big bell ringer. Woo! Man, I'm hooked. I love it. I love it. Can't get enough of it. Crawling around on the ground, puking, bells ringing in my ears. Couldn't get enough of it. Give me more. I had some money saved up, spent all that money, lost my job, lost my apartment I lived in, had to go crawling back to my sister. Help, I need help. So once again, thank God for the VA because they helped me out. I went into rehab in the VA, did 28 days. I got out of that. I think I stayed sober about 7 days. That was it. And it was back to the races. drinking, drugging, whatever I could get my hands on. There were times when I would hold a job. I was raised by alcoholics who did try to instill in me that you got to work first. You got to work and take care of your family, and then you do your party and your drinking. You work hard, you play hard. There's many, many, many functional alcoholics in Western Pennsylvania because they keep the mindset, work hard, play hard, take care of business. But nonetheless, they are alcoholics with alcoholic problems, no doubt. But a lot of them are functional. I'm not functional. I can't do it. Anyway, so after I got out of rehab and relapsed, there's some missing spots in there. There's some blanks in there where I was functional and just partying and doing okay and working. And then I met a woman. I met a woman in Richmond. That's how I came to Richmond. I came down here for a job. They sent me down to paint out of Doswell, Bear Island, to paint a big water treatment system we put in there. And I went to the Hill Cafe in Churchill, still there, I believe. And I met my wife. So we have a long distance relationship back and forth. And she knows I drink and she drinks and we party, but she was in school and she was pretty normal. So I really tempered my drinking. I didn't get too out of hand. But we got married. We got married and we lived up in Churchill back in the day before it was all gentrified, when it was still pretty rough around the edges. And I lived in the 600 block of 27th Street, North 27th, up in Churchill. Yes, sir. And me and my wife were the only white folks forever. I used to walk my German Shepherd and people would yell 5-0, 5-0 and throw down their packages. If I'm lying, I'm dying. White guy with the German Shepherd. I could have picked up so many packages. Yeah, he would run. So then they got used to it. People would throw down their packages, yell 5-0, and they'd be like, that's just that dude walking his dog. That's just that white boy walking his dog. So when my wife was away one day, I started thinking, the light goes off. Let me try some of this here crack cocaine. I haven't done cocaine in a while. Never did crack. I used to just shoot up stuff in the 80s. So let me try some of this crack, see what it's all about. Off to the races. Off to the races. Fucking it all up. Once again, at least I knew I was out of control. I was smoking crack, and one day while the wife was at school, I smoked a bunch of crack, had to come down off that shit, out of money, scraped up a bunch of change, went to the corner store, got a 6-pack of Old English 800, pounded down, I think it was 16 ounces too, pounded down a 6-pack of Old English 800, passed out face first on the floor, woke up with a puddle of piss all around me. I said, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Got in my car, drove to McGuire VA Hospital, said, please help me. Please help me. And they did. That time, I stayed sober for 9.5 years. I kept my wife. It can be done. It can be done. 9.5 years. That's when I went to school, got a professional license, worked, made good money, had a son and a daughter, and was doing good. Was doing great. But one day, you know, they say cunning, baffling, and powerful. You've heard those words, cunning, baffling, powerful. One day, I walked into a 7-Eleven for a cup of coffee, like I had done 1,000 times before. Get back in my car, driving down the road, reach down in the cup holder for my cup of coffee. It's not there. I said, well, where the hell's my coffee? I look over on the seat, and there's a 6-pack of Budweiser. I said, no, what the? I couldn't even remember doing it. Swear to goodness, couldn't even remember doing it. I said, what the hell? I got it now. So after 9.5, 10 years, I don't keep that good track of time. I'm not one of those people that can name dates like that. But it was good 9 to 10 years of solid sobriety. I was a coffee maker. I had a regular meeting I went to up in Churchill at St. Patrick's Church, and I was the coffee makers. You ever hear say meeting makers make it? Coffee makers make it? Went in, made coffee every week. And so if If you take a 12-step program, get a home group, get on the service, do service work. It'll help. Coffee makers make it. So I drank that 6-pack, and then I started drinking again, a little bit at a time, little bit at a time. Oh, I can handle it. Just drink a couple beers after work. Of course, I'm hiding it from my wife. I'm drinking a few beers after work. But here we go again with the progressive disease. It's progressive. I start drinking more. I start drinking more. I start drinking more. And then here I am. I never was a violent person because I grew up around violence. So I deplored it. I hate violence. I hate fist fighting. I hate yelling and screaming. I can't stand it. But I'm a terrible drunk. I'm a lousy, shitty, terrible drunk. So I start raising hell if dinner's not on the table. I start raising hell at my kids because they're misbehaving or they're acting like children, like wild banshees running around yelling and screaming, like normal kid shit. But oh no, I can't handle it. My nerves, I'm drunk and I'm pissed off. So I start raising hell. Terrible. Terrible. Where does that lead? That leads me out of the house. Kids mad at me. Wife mad at me. Can't live in the house. So I got a little shitty apartment, paying child support, getting my kids on the weekend. My wife made me put a breathalyzer in the car. They won't even do it now, I don't think, without court papers, somebody told me. I had to go get a breathalyzer put in the car before she let me take the kids on the weekend. So I did it. I could afford it. And it wasn't good. I don't know why I didn't get help again. I can't explain it. The disease had a hold of me and it was winning. I'm going to drink. Smoked a little weed, wasn't doing much of hard drugs, still working, holding a job, but I couldn't go a day without drinking. I had to drink alcohol. And I lost my wife. We got divorced. We ended up getting divorced. And the kids still mad at me. They're growing up. They're getting older. They don't want to hang around me. They want to do their own thing. They don't want to go with me on the weekends anymore. They're pissed off. Man is supposed to be, no matter what they say, no matter what anybody says, we're expected as men to be a head of a household. Even in this modern day and age, I got all the respect in the world for women. I was raised by a feminist, and I got all the respect in the world for women, no doubt. But men are supposed to hold that shit together. And I didn't hold that shit together. So my kids were mad at me. They were mad. I did not hold the family together. I was weak. And alcohol won. So one day, I met a girl. I'm divorced. Haven't had any relations with a female in over a year. And I meet a girl. She's driving a fancy sports car, and I asked her if she'd take me for a ride. She said, sure, jump in. Takes off in this 300, whatever it is, Mazda 300 ZX, shifting gears, getting it down the road. I said, where are we going? She looked at me and smiled. She said, do you smoke crack? I said, oh, Lord, stop at the ATM, goddammit. Stop at the ATM. Yeah. So, woo, off we go to the races, smoking crack. Come to find out, she borrowed the car. It wasn't her automobile. She didn't have a job. She borrowed that car and didn't return it. Yeah. So the police knocking on my door the next morning. And I'm like, why are the police here? What is that? Where are you? She's in the closet. I look in the closet. Don't let them know I'm here. Don't let them know I'm here. I just met this woman. So, oh my God. So I said, no, the car's there. I don't know where she is. She disappeared on me. She said she was going to see her brother. And so the owner of the car was with the police. He said, I just want my car back. So he took the car back and the police left. And I was like, who are you? Who are you, lady? But me, being an addict, I guess, or me being me, I don't know. I fell in love with her. I'm in love. This woman is wild. She's crazy. She does drugs, and she doesn't care if I'm fucked up, right? We all want to be accepted, right? This is great. I got someone who will be codependent with me. I got someone who enable me. I have someone who will not only tolerate my alcoholism and my drug addiction, but she'll participate in it with me. This is wonderful. And we stayed together for 16 years. 16 years. And I think I put my hands on her one time. I did. She put her hands on me plenty of times. I did put my hands on her one time. I got locked up, did 30 days for that, and still regret it because I loved her. We were in love. So we went to McShin together. Now I'm getting confused on my timeline. Was in jail? No. Yeah, we decided to get sober. And we went to McShin. We're in McShin, but she kept relapsing. I'm trying to make a go of it. And we did a lot of meth. Let's back up a little bit. During those 16 years, we drank, we drugged, I held a job. We did a lot of meth. Then I discovered methamphetamine. Oh, wow, it's a lot cheaper than cocaine, and you can go for days. So let me do methamphetamine. So we were meth heads. She got down to about 95 pounds, maybe a little less, 93 pounds. I was about $125. People at work, what the hell is wrong with you? Yeah, this is all recovery weight. The joys of recovery. Yeah, so, yeah. Finally, the methamphetamine got the best of us. I had a house out in Crew, out in Nottoway. I don't know if y'all know where Nottoway is or Crew, Virginia is. Renting a little house, had a couple cats, and we lived there for years. But there was a lot of drinking, a lot of fighting. There was a lot of me running away from her because she got violent when she was drunk. But I loved her. And I loved the lifestyle. And I was able to hold that job down. I don't know how I was still good at my job, but it's a progressive disease. So eventually I lost my job. They were like, sorry, you're too fucked up. So they fired me. Got another job. That didn't last long because I was already strung out. And that didn't last long before they said, this isn't working out. Something's wrong with you. And they fired me. So there we are in a house, no money for rent. I said, here I am again. Lord have mercy. No money for rent. Car breaks down. No car. We're at each other's throats. That's when I put my hands on her and got locked up because she was turning our house into a trap house because she needed meth. So she's inviting every stinking, nasty meth head in town over to our house to use our house as a shooting gallery and what have you, trap house, as long as she gets some meth out of it. And so one day I put my hands on her and they didn't like that. She didn't call the police. The other people were like, oh no, he's not going to fuck up our good deal. So they called the police and had me arrested so they could keep partying in my house. So that's when, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I told you I have a hard time. Did a lot of drugs, man. I messed up my brain. Did a lot of drugs. That's when I got into McShin. That's when I went to rehab again. I'm sorry. There we go. While I was locked up, they locked me up for strangulation. I did not wrap my hands around her neck. I'll go to my grave swearing that. I grabbed her by the shoulders and I shook the hell out of her. What the hell is wrong with you? But it wasn't good enough to get a misdemeanor simple assault to get me out of the picture. So they said I put my hands around her neck and choked her, which I did not. But doesn't matter. They locked me up for strangulation, no bond. But I got a bed-to-bed transfer to a rehab up in Northern Virginia. I get out. What's the first thing I do? Call Amy. We're still in love. She loves me to death. I love her to death. We're sick people now. We're sick people. That's when I got her in McShin, and we both got sober for a while. But I fell off the wagon. Didn't work a solid program. We fell off the wagon. Well, let me jump ahead. I don't want to lose the audience here. I'm jumping around. Let's just say, can you follow that? A lifelong process of drinking, drugging, violence, just out of control. That's why I say it is a disease. But I don't want to be a diseased person. I don't want to identify as an addict necessarily. I don't want to identify as a diseased person. So now I'm with the new model. I am a person. I am a person first. I am a person in sustained recovery from a substance use disorder. That puts the emphasis on I'm a person first, right? Not an addict, not a junkie, not a diseased person. But the old school part of me will always say I'm an addict or I'm a junkie. And I do have a disease because we know, like I said, the disease process, it is progressive. It will get worse. It is predictable what's going to happen. You know what the symptoms are. You know what's going to happen. And where does it end up? Jails, institutions, death. I've seen many people die. I have seen many people die since this fentanyl. Oh, yeah, forgot about that. Lord have mercy. When I left out of McShin, when Amy left and I left out of McShin, we came in as meth heads. We couldn't find any meth. I didn't want any more crack. I was so sick of crack. I said, I'm never smoking that nasty, gross, especially the stuff that was going around, monkey feet, nasty tasting, disgusting. I said, I'm not smoking any more of that shit. Promise you. So someone come along and said, well, how about heroin, sir? Have you tried heroin? No, I've done some Percocets. Is it like that? Yes, heroin is better than Percocets. Okay, let's do heroin. So Amy and I became heroin addicts. Yeah, we sure did. We did a lot of dope. I was driving pizzas. I was a pizza delivery guy. So I made money every day, made $100, $150 in tips every day. So we had dope at night, dope in the morning, hustle those pizzas. She would ride with me. They didn't care. It was for a mom and pop's place. So they didn't care if Amy rode with me. So the family that works together and shoots dope together stays together. So we ran, we ran the hell out of pizzas and we did the hell out of dope. Yes, sir. Yeah. Wow. So how did I end up back in rehab again? Oh, getting the DUI. Yeah, Amy was at home. Poor Amy was at home. She always went with me. She didn't want to go with me. I went and scored, and we had a little heroin at home. My man wasn't around. I ran into this girl I knew. She had fentanyl. And I did a little bump of fentanyl. Instead of waiting till I get home, I did a little bump of fentanyl. And 8 minutes, 10 minutes later, it takes me 10 minutes to get home. 9 minutes later, didn't make it. Got into a wreck. So they locked me up and wouldn't give me the bond. So now she's in our apartment. I'm out of a job. She's got no money. We had a roommate. She has no money. I'm out of a job, and they won't give me a bond unless I go to treatment. So I get a bed-to-bed transfer back to the VA hospital. That was in March of 2022. And when I got a rehab there, I come back to an apartment with no lights, had water, had gas, no electricity, eviction notices on the door, and we start, of course, drinking. We didn't have the money for heroin. I never did a drug. So I got kind of 2 sobriety dates. March of 2022 was the last time I did a drug, but I did drink. We drank. And finally, they were kicking us out. We had nowhere to go. The cars broke down. Brakes were gone out on it. No money. No, again, no job, no money, no car, no apartment. So that's when we came crawling back to McShin. I said, Jesse Wysocki, you know, he's in charge down there. He knew me. I said, Jesse, please help. Amy and I need help. He said, all right. So he gave us both a scholarship to the intensive program. She went to the female intensive program. I went to the male intensive program. And that was November of 2022. And I said to myself, and Amy, so baby, we got to get it right. This is just, it's just ridiculous. We've done all the drugs in the world, done all the drinking in the world. Look where it's gotten us. I mean, we got to get it right this time. Well, Amy got out, living in McShin, living in sobriety, in you know what I mean, sober living house. I'm in a sober living house, and we're doing okay. But she always said she hated being in a recovery house. I said, come on, man. Well, really, she just wanted to drink. But she hated being in a recovery house. She used to say, you don't know what it's like living with a bunch of bitches. I said, I know what it's like living in a recovery house. No, you don't know what it's like living with a bunch of bitches, she would say. That was her excuse. She said she couldn't handle it. So she left out. She left out and she went back to live with our old roommate. He had gotten a house living with his grandmother. They were platonic. I think he had a crush on her, but it was a platonic relationship. But then he calls me up. He says, you got to do something. This bitch is crazy. She won't stop drinking, Terry. You got to get her out of my house. I said, look, I'm sober. I got nothing. I can't handle Amy anymore. It's been too long. It's been 15, 16 years now. So I said, she's your problem. Well, she finally went into a program called Forest Hill Arts. I don't know if y'all heard of that. She did Forest Hill Arts. They helped her out. She went to another intensive house there, River City. They helped her out. Then she went to a sober living house up on the north side. They helped her out. And she was like, yeah, baby, you're right. We got to get it right. I was like, thank God. She goes, hurry up, get a job, get us out of here, get a place. You don't know what it's like. I said, Amy, stop. Stop. You gotta, it is what it is right now, okay? We didn't tear it down in a day. It's not going to get rebuilt in a day. It's going to take some time. You got to stay in the recovery house. You got to live with them women. You got to get along and be patient. We'll think our way out of this. We'll work our way out of this. I will get us out of it. Well, by this time, Amy, I'm 61. She was 9 years. So she was 51, 52, should be 52. She's got bad COPD. She smoked a lot of crack before she met me, smoked a lot of cigarettes. So her lungs are pretty shot. She's on inhalers, nebulizers, doing breathing treatments and what have you. From drugs, from crack cocaine, her lungs are destroyed. So I call one night like I do every night, talking, and she sounds horrible. I said, baby, what's wrong? She said, I'm sick, man. I'm sick. Terrible. I'm sick. I said, you sound sick. She goes, I am. So the next day I call her, you feel any better? No, I feel terrible. I said, baby, maybe you should go to the doctor. But she was always good about going to the doctor when she got pneumonia, because she would get pneumonia, bronchitis. And she would know, she knew when she would have it. So she would go to the doctor. Excuse me. She said, I feel terrible. I said, well, get you some rest. We'll talk tomorrow. And that's when I decided I was going to make her go to the doctor. Well, the next morning, I'm riding with my friend. We went to the store or something, and we're on the way back, and the phone rings. And the guy says, is this Mr. Duffy? I said, I don't know. I don't know. He said, this is Sergeant Rogers, the Richmond Police Department. Is this Mr. Duffy? I was like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm Mr. Duffy. He says, you know Amy Stringfellow? I said, I don't know. I might have heard the name. Do you know Amy Stringfellow? You're listed as her emergency contact. I was like, what did you do? She was sick. How did she relapse and get locked up when she was so sick? You got to be kidding me. Mr. Duffy, I'm sorry to inform you, Miss Stringfellow passed away last night. I said, God Got to be kidding me. She died with a rescue inhaler in her hand. Looks like it was pneumonia, COPD, pneumonia. So my Amy died on me. Now, backing up a little bit, told you my parents died on me when I was a kid. That kind of hardened my heart. My nephew, I have a nephew that was only 2 years younger than me. Growing up, he was one of my best friends. I put him in the grave, crack cocaine, heroin, at 53 years old, 54 years old. He was found in his chair watching Gunsmoke, his favorite show. Deceased. And last August, and I'm not going to get all into it, but my son caught the disease of addiction. Maybe he modeled after me. Maybe he just got the gene. But he struggled with heroin addiction. And right before his 25th birthday, last August, he died of an overdose. Now, at that time, I said, I'm not going to relapse. I am not. I lost my son, my one and only son, my best pal, because we had reconciled. We were friends. I said, I'm not relapsing behind this. So Amy dies on me. I said, oh. I said, this is going to kill me. So I go to Rosie's. I said, I'm going to Rosie's and spend some money and distract myself. And I'm walking by the bar, and I look at that bar, and I'm like, no, I ain't doing it. I wanted a Jack and Coke. I said, I have the right to feel sorry for myself. I have the right to feel sorry for myself. I have the right to numb myself from this pain. But where does it lead? And I'm going to wrap things up. I didn't think I'd be able to talk for 30 minutes, but I just got the 5-minute warning. So apparently the story came out and I was able to talk. I hope I was able to hold your attention for that time. I wanted a Jack and Coke. I wanted a buzz. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. What have I done differently? Let's get to that. What have I done differently that I'm able to tolerate deaths of people I love very much, the most in the world, my son and Amy, and not relapse, even though I felt sorry for myself and I wanted to relapse? Okay, I've been to thousands of meetings over the years, and I'll be honest with you, I have not been going. I've been working every day, and I haven't been going to that many meetings. But what I learned, what somebody taught me in recovery and from a 12-step program, and what I do is I work a program, the WHO program. Actually, I've turned it into whom. Willingness, honesty, open-mindedness, and I put an M on it for mindfulness. I'm honest with myself. I'm honest with my fellow human beings. When I make a mistake, I promptly admit it. I'm humble. I'm open-minded. I listen to other people. If I don't like them, it doesn't matter. I value their opinion. I value their life. I value their recovery. I accept them for who they are. I'm willing to do what it takes to stay sober. Like when John says, you're going to this meeting. I didn't really want to come here. I was afraid of speaking. I didn't think I'd be able to do it. I just wanted to go home and take a nap. So I was willing to do it. And mindfulness. I try to be mindful of other people, other people's feelings, and especially of my own feelings. Picking up is the last thing we do in a relapse. It's not the first thing we do in a relapse. Picking up is the last thing we do in a relapse. There's a whole process that goes on inside that brain before we pick up. So another thing I do along those lines, and I'll leave it at that, is play out the tape. Play out the tape. If nothing else works and none of the other weapons or tools in your tool belt seem to be working, and you've made up your mind and you're determined, you're going to take that hit, you're going to take that drink, you're going to get fucked up, play out the tape. Remember this place. Remember what happens. Misery, broke, disgusted with yourself. Yeah, you're going to be high for a while, and then you're going to hate yourself, or worse, you're going to die or kill someone. And I'm afraid of that. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not built for jail. This shit scares me more than anything. I don't think about dying. I'm not afraid of dying. I think about getting locked up. If I take that drink and I do that drug, I'm going to ruin my life. But mostly what I'm afraid of is going to jail. I'm not going back in there. I'm afraid of it. I'm not built for it. I hate it. I hate it. And I like having money in my pocket. And I like being able to be around people and live a normal life, although it be boring sometimes. It's boring sometimes. That's life. We have to live life on life's terms. You'll probably hear that many times too, but it's true. So honesty, open-mindedness, willingness, mindfulness, and life on life's terms. And thank you all very much. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right, appreciate you.
Hey, let me tell you my takeaway. We were sitting over there talking. Me and Terry was over there talking. So Terry said, hey, Marshall, how long you been clean, man? You know? I said, man, 35 years, you know? But me coming in here and listen to somebody like him, that takes me back to early using in and out of jail, in and out of jail, in and out of jail. You know what I mean? And it just reminds me all the time of shit that my mind might want to forget the pain and suffering, but it reminded me, man, of the dope fiend that I was. You know, of the dope fiend that I was. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I meet people today and they don't understand that because they seeing part of the finished product I'm talking about. Other people that come in with a lot of clean time. That's why I like somebody to come in like church. Got 19 months. You know what I'm saying? 19 months, you know? Because that was me. That was me one time, man. I remember I used to laugh at the people that drank alcohol. At the people that were dope fiends, they went from a dope fiend to an alcoholic because they didn't have the money. You know what I'm saying? Man, you could go in the shot house, man, and get a 50-cent shot, a $1 shot. You know what I'm saying? Then I remember the times when I was running up in there. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't had enough money. I ain't had $25. You know what I'm saying? I had a couple of dollars. Well, I'll go get something to drink. You know what I'm saying? How you became a scumbag. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people look at you, man, and side eye. Man, why don't you take your ass home? You know what I'm saying? Out here begging and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Take your ass home, you know? But the point being is you can get a message from anybody. You know, two things that I heard. Well, the first thing I heard him say is it can be done. It can be done. I mean, you can look at him. He's telling you like, look, man, the commercial they used to have on, this is my brain on drugs. Your shit fried. Yeah. Your shit fried. You know what I'm saying? And it takes a minute. I done met a lot of people like that, man. It takes a minute for that shit, man, to reverse, for the process to reverse. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Shit, yeah. You know, I mean, when you be real about it, because I tell you right now, man, that drug and alcohol is some powerful shit, man. That's some powerful shit, man. You know what I'm saying? That shit shouldn't even been on the market, man. But anyway, glad y'all here. Y'all kept me clean one more day. You know what I'm saying? See y'all week after next.
Thank you.
All right. See y'all again. What's up, man? January.
Yes, sir.
I got you. I got you.
Jahari window, man.
Jahari window. Go look at that junk. Go look at that junk. Yeah. Huh?